Today I'm talking about impact location. I think a lot of you know that if you're not hitting the golf ball out of the center of the golf club, you're not getting the optimal energy transfer onto the golf ball. The ball won't be flying through the air with the penetration that it normally would do. But obviously the big question is, how do I control the position that I am hitting the ball on the face? Now, if I look at the impact location here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera, but this is basically down in the heel of the golf club. What do I have to do in order to change that? When you're swinging a golf club, you are also having to deal with the centrifugal forces that you are creating in the golf swing, pulling the club down and away from you. So isn't it logical that if the club is being pulled down and away from you, it's moving towards the heel? So how would you stop that? Well, fortunately, it's pretty simple, isn't it? You want to be applying more force back and away from the ball, back and away from the ground, and this is what primarily your lead side should be doing through the ball. That means the feeling of pulling on the grip end, getting your lead shoulder back and out of the way. Obviously this will be helped by your hip rotation and the work of your legs, but to a certain extent the concentration, the thought, is more of pulling the club back with your lead hand rather than turning your shoulders faster or pressing harder up with your legs. By doing this, you will actually be able to get the club further away from the ball and move the impact location forwards. So if I now show you, you can actually see I've overdone that and the impact location has moved to the toe. Getting this balance is probably the most difficult thing in golf because the balance will change with every swing. If I am making a pretty small swing, let's say I'm chipping the ball, then obviously there are very little forces pulling the club down other than gravity. And therefore the balance between the pulling with my lead hand and the pushing with my trail hand will be around about the same. Imagine having a grip with no shaft in it. I'm going to be pulling back and pushing down at with the same force in order to keep the radius of my golf swing constant. However, as I increase the force of the swing, and this will happen as soon as I start hinging and releasing my wrists, then I really have to take into account that the force applied to the grip with my lead side has got to be higher than the force that I'm applying with my trail side. There is really a feeling of applying opposite vertical forces in order to control the radius of my swing then. And by making practice swings and really getting a feeling for this, and also for the way and the amount of contact you're getting with the ground, you should be able to find the center of the golf club. I don't know if you can see that. Not enough. Let's try again. Oh, that was right out of the middle. And it's difficult, but you will see now I have filled the gap right in the middle of the club. It's all about balancing forces, the yin and the yang. So if you're socketing the ball or hitting it out of the shank of the club, the heel of the club, you are probably not taking into account these extra forces of nature which are pulling the club away. You're not getting your lead shoulder back and pulling away with your hands. On the contrary, if you tend to be hitting it out of the toe a lot, then it's very possible that the rotation of your body is actually far more powerful than the pressure you're applying with your trail hand to the ground. A lot of times this will happen when the player is actually trying to hold their release too long and not allowing the trail hand to become active. Imagine throwing a ball underarm. You're not going to do that with a loose wrist. You're going to accelerate the ball with your wrist, and you should be doing this with the golf club. But rather than flipping it forward, you want to be pressing down, applying force along the shaft throughout the swing, and to a point around about a yard after you've hit the ball, you should still be applying force to the shaft. If you go on the range and test this, you should be able to find pretty quickly the sweet spot for yourself. But please don't get too irate if you don't find it immediately. This really is something which even the best golfers on the planet have problems with. It's something which will change from day to day. If you think of your brain trying to coordinate the instructions it's giving to the muscles in your body and the amplitude of the instructions it's giving it, and just a small change in the force that you apply to the grip can make a small change on the impact location on the club face. And that's why we've got to forgive ourselves when we're not always hitting it right between the eyes. I hope this helps you. If it does, please hit the like button. It helps the channel immensely. Maybe even subscribe to us if you like the content. It won't be long before I'm back again with something new to tell you. Until then, have a good one. Goodbye.